Hey everyone, welcome to OGHQ Studio and my spring detailing project. So I'm working on this guy, 997 Aqua Blue GT3 RS. It's my replacement for the Golf. I think I'm done. So we'll find out. I've got some more work to do on it, but I think I'm done. And so now I'm on to this, and this thing's freaking sick. This is the one. And so what we're gonna do here today is we're gonna decon. If you're coming over from the OG channel, thanks for being here. If you like long form, all the details, this is what I do here. This is what I've been doing for over a decade on YouTube, where I don't really edit it. I just kind of share with you my thoughts and what I'm working on. My process has adjusted a little bit over the years. I've done this decon I probably have 150 decon videos, so not a lot has changed, but I am gonna do a couple of new things here today in this video that I haven't done before. So products that we're gonna be using, towels. Microfiber 4.0 should be out in a few weeks. 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that. And so beater towel is a 16 by 24, 80/20 car wash towel from the Rag Company. My drying towels, the drying towel's changing from orange, because I don't use bead maker anymore, to silver because it looks cooler. And then bulk drying, which we're gonna use after, because I'm not gonna be able to blow the car off as well. Actually, no, this is coated, so I should be able to dry it pretty easily, but I don't want to use drying aid. I'm gonna use Carpro Eraser, and then my beloved Increda pad for Microfiber Madness. So we have that. I've got an AccuPore to measure my Built Hamber. So I have a Built Hamber solution mixed up, about 2% PIR. I need about 380 milliliters of soap to 1,000 milliliter solution. 1.5 millimeter orifice in the Griot's foam cannon. You guys got to get these. Check it out. This squeezer holds the Built Hamber, and the Built Hamber leaches through a lot of stuff, but this is what touchless looks like. And let me make sure this is touchless. This is not touchless. Touchless is over here. This is GFX, the Christmas scent. I'm an idiot. Here's touchless. This is what touchless looks like in a squeezer. So no seepage, no seeping through the bottle. The only thing we gotta do is figure out how to put a label on it. So you got a label on this one. And it sticks, but see, it starts to get little ribs in it. So that's not ideal. So we got traceless in my squeeze bottle here. Traceless I've already mixed up in my foam cannon. And then, I keep saying traceless, touchless. And then touchless in the latest gallons, it's not leaching through the bottom. The last gallons it did. And I think there's like a baggie in here, like there's a liner inside of this gallon. And then these are the Built Hamber gallon spouts, which we have in the store as well. So I measured that out. And they have OG Decon soap in the squeezer as well. I don't know, every time I pick this up, I just start smiling. I think these things are great. I love them. It's the first, press-all product we got right on like the first try. So I think we had 6 or 8 different iterations of squeeziness, but this is a LDPE plastic, which makes it squeezable. We just have to solve the problem of labeling. And then our 5 liter is hopefully gonna be available by early summer. So imagine a really cool looking matching press-all gallon. So 150 milliliters of soap in a 1,000 milliliter solution. So I have some decon soap set up. And then I've got Curacol. It's nothing special other than it kind of helps me. I mean, I don't find a remarkable difference between any of the iron removers. I bring in this because I trust Pete Hamber's chemistry, and it helps me import the other stuff because I can put this on the pallet. And iron remover is not something I care much about, but this is really effective and works really well. I've tried all these different stuff, scentless, colorless, odorless, and this is up there with all of them. It just does the job. So that'll be for iron removal. Then I have my clay lube, and I should probably grab my clay. Where do I have the clay? I have it here somewhere. Here it is. So we're gonna clay this car today. 1, because it's fancy and expensive and awesome, and 2, because I owe you some videos on this. So Built Hamber has 3 different clays. We've got soft, medium, and regular. And I don't know which one to get, so I just get all of them. I'm thinking you probably just buy regular, but I've used them, but I haven't used them in a little while. So I'm going to use them again on this car, and I'm going to force myself to do the whole car with a clay bar rather than a clay scrubber. And we're going to use McKee's diluted 128:1 in, I should have mentioned, the two solo sprayers I like to have. One is for iron remover, one is for clay lube, clay scrubbing. I like having the motorized version or the battery powered because these things are awesome. And this OG blue, so that makes it even better. So we got McKee's, and then some optional stuff for drying. Thanks to the gentleman who suggested this years ago to me. When I'm drying the car, I don't want to add drying aid after I just stripped whatever I could from the decon process. And so I'm going to use CarPro Eraser, and I'm going to use that as my drying aid and my prep for before polishing and taping. And then Tarex I have in case there's any tar on the car, which I don't think so. I don't think we have. So that's a pretty big menu of products that we need for this, but we're gonna do the job and get it done. All right, so here's what I got here. Unicorn, 10,000 mile, aqua blue metallic. This has, from what I understand, I think it's Seacort's, probably Seacort's finest, possibly Seacort's Reserve on it. There's a little bit of contamination. There's some micro marring, some toweling marks. Really, really good condition, 10,000 mile car. No PPF. I don't think I'm going to do PPF on this either. This is the gold accent package. And so I'll get into detail. I'll make a dedicated video on the spec of this car. That's not the purpose of this video here today. Today, what I'm attempting to do in this video series is capture the long format of this process here, and then do a slightly more to the point. It's not all about decon on the OG channel. The OG channel is about the garage and what we're doing in the garage. The Matt Mormon channel is about lifestyle, about whatever's going on in my life and all the details in between. So in this series, we're going to decon it, we're going to correct it, we're going to protect it, we're going to do the interior with Leader Max, I'm going to remove the wheels, denib the tires, coat the wheels, do the whole series of dialing in, so that way I can enjoy this thing and hopefully take it for a spin at some point. That'd be really cool. But remember, 997 RS, super heavy clutch, the last of the Mezger, so it's a 3.8 liter rattle box in all the good ways, and this sucker is a lot of money. So what is it? More than double the money of the old star of the show. So I think this one steals the show. Anyway, let's get started. All right, so we got everything set up here. It's a few days later. We wanted to get the right sunlight, so we needed to do it at like 4 p.m. So for the first step in the decon process, what I'm gonna do here is get the paint totally ready to go to polish, is to use the Built-Hamber Touchless at a 2% panel impact ratio. So the car's dry. I'm gonna put this on first, and it's gonna do the lion's share of the cleaning right up front. So let's get this on the car, let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then we'll rinse it off, and it'll do most of our work for us. There we go. All right, so I'm just gonna get this on the car, let it sit for 5 minutes. You can see the car is coated. So this has Seacort's, one of the professionals, either finest or reserve. Been on it for, I think, 4 or 5 years now. I'm not going to do the wheels, so the wheels will do, I'm going to just Built-Hamber them, but I'm not going to clean the wheels because they're going to remove the wheels and clean them after the fact. So it's not ideal that we have sun, but it should be all right. So I think this will turn into a nice wash bay. If I extend it out about 30, 40 feet, then I could wash it any time during the day. Right now, I kind of have to wait till the sun goes down, or it kind of comes over to the other side of the building. All right, so we'll let that go to work. Take care of the bugs and all that crap. I'll let that sit. Again, it's about 5 minutes of dwell time. That's what you want, 5 minutes or less. On Porsches, no problem with trim. There's a few cars that, like, if you went this aggressive at 2% panel impact ratio, PIR stands for panel impact ratio. It's the dilution percentage that we have in here. If you go that aggressive with this, some cars, some of the trim might not like it, but in general, it's pretty darn safe. You want to be sure, stay with 1%. 1% still does like 85% of the cleaning of 2% wood, 2% wood. I'm gonna fix that. All right. I kind of like having everything nice and set up like this with my rolling cart. I got to work on, I want a dedicated tool cart. I finally have the room to do it. Especially with my new car capsule out there, putting my cars out there. Did you see that thing? Look at that. You've got to go watch that video. It's like it's an oversized giant 2-car garage I have out there, which is going to be my like staging area. So I don't have to keep all the cars in here. I can kind of move them back and forth. It's going to be great. Okay, so I got my 40-degree 7.5. Just to remind you, I've got dual ARs. So these are the dual 630 hots. So it's the nickel-plated version, which I wouldn't recommend buying the 630 hot. I would recommend, if you're going to do the 630 hot and you're going to do a single machine, I would just go to the 635. Another little tip, we found out, all this testing I've been doing, I had a prototype 635, not a production. And so the production versions have no problems running a 1.5 millimeter orifice on any foam cannon. So I did all that work, all that searching, and we don't even need it. So more to come. I'll make a video on that in the future. But again, my advice, you're going to buy the 630 to save money over the 635. Unless you're want to do duals, then maybe we get you the 635 hot. But I would buy this, 630 hots. I would do 635 if you're going to do a single machine to try to save some money. It's under $1,000. Then you would jump to a 635 with a brass head, and then if you want the nickel plated, I would go the 635 hot. Those are the ones that we're going to carry. All right, so this guy's ready to go. I wash bottom up on the pre-wash phase. So obviously this was a garage kept car, lots of crazy water behavior. This C-Course Pro coatings are, crazy hydrophobic, but it's getting a little crunchy. There's some toweling marks, some scratches, so it's time to redo it. And so this would be a more typical detail for me and most of us. Our cars are cared for, and then every few years you got to kind of do this process. So we're going to be careful, but the decals are all factory and they're like a couple grand to redo. So we're going to avoid messing with those. So all the bug splatter, and there was a bunch of bugs on here, came right off. Okay, next step, decon soap. So remember, I have OG decon soap. I put about 200 milliliters of soap in here. So we're gonna get this on the surface of the car, and then we're gonna do a contact wash. So Build Hammer got us 90% clean, especially on a coating that's still functioning pretty well, a garage kept car, low mileage. And then this is going to kind of strip whatever sealants that are put on top of the coating. And we're going to use this super slick, lots of lubrication. We're going to use this to contact wash, to get a pad, a mitt, and go and wash the thing. Look at how great this foams, man. That to me is like perfect foam. Not quite shaving cream, but right up to the edge of it. I always love doing the decon because I don't have to get down and do the wheels. I do it afterward. Okay, so I'm going to take the rest of the soap, I'm going to dump it in my bucket. I always like to wait and fill up my soap bucket after I foam the car. So I foam the car, let that dwell, and then I set up my soap bucket because your suds sort of tend to die off with pretty much any soap before I actually get to it. So I like to do it now, so that way I have fresh suds for when I'm washing. And this is these beauties, squeezers. Press all squeezers, put a little more decon soap in there, get my bucket going. The new OG Dram bucket filler, great setup. New OG bucket packages, wait till you see what these are gonna look like, people. It's real good. It's coming soon, very soon. So I'm gonna have to put the brake on. What the heck did I do to my shoe? Look at that. It's like a straight line of something. These are like my favorite shoes. New Balance 440. I have every color, every shape, every size. Japan Pro and Japan Pro Asics, and then these New Balance 440s are my fave. All right. Now this is what you would call your traditional contact wash. So I'm gonna grab some soap, come here. Remember, the car is pretty darn clean. Not a ton of contamination, so our clay bar step is gonna be pretty crude, quick, and easy. I could probably even clay it right after this. We're gonna make sure there's no iron, so we're gonna iron remove it first, and then we're gonna clay it. So traditionally, if I was doing a normal wash, and I wasn't about to polish, and I wasn't all clean from the built hamper step already on an already relatively clean car, I wouldn't have done that large of a section. I probably would have revisited my bucket a time or two more. We'll do all this work over the next couple of days just so that we can have the payoff of the very first wash after a detail. That's my favorite. But this, you know, when you get a new car, you know, a new car to me, it's like a bonding experience, right? We go through all this work, but it gives me time to learn the whole thing. That's what I like. Now, I've already had a 997 before. So, but that one was a giveaway car. This one, it's a little bit different. It's a lot bit different. It's a lot different than the giveaway car. Oh, that's right. This is a manual one. There's no spring on this. There's a spring, but it's a different spring. So I'm not using any pressure, take my time, wash the car like I've taught you, wash it from top down, revisit the bucket often, get the job done. Get yelled at by you for touching the paint. I like touching the paint. Got nibs on these tires we need to get rid of. That's okay, we need to sell some denibbing packages. Denibbing tools. You know, it's a little bit of a slope here, so, or normally I'd bring the buckets to me, but I'm okay with walking a few steps extra. It's a small car. It's an easy process. We'll get through it. More jams. It smells like a 997. We need to get OG scent packs in there. Get some leather and leaves. The rear fender here. So there is PPF right here on the high impact area, which I think makes a lot of sense. But I don't intend to do any PPF otherwise on this. Let's see the wing. It's amazing how much smaller this car is than the 991. I should have taken the plate off. We'll come back and take it off. All right, last side. jam. Last little section here. I'll pop this. Engine bay looks clean. I don't need to mess with that. All right, let me do first rinse. We're gonna have 3 rinses, or 4 rinses. Pre-wash, decon wash, iron removal, clay bar. So we're gonna have 4 different sets of rinses on this puppy. And this is why having 4.7 gallons, 4.6 gallons a minute is helpful. Speeds up the process. The coating hasn't really held up very well on the front bumper here. I like a soap like this that doesn't reactivate. It rinses off so easily. You know, some soaps will keep sudsing up and it takes longer to rinse. This is real simple, real quick. Okay, a simple test that you could do. Now, I don't know why it really matters to do this test, but because I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm probably gonna use a clay bar. But I can take after the wash, now there's nothing on the surface, I don't have to worry about scratching anything, and I'm looking for contamination. And there really isn't any, hardly any at all. So this coating is held up well. The main reason why I'm polishing this is because, well, it's new to me and I want to start fresh. But there's some, we'll show you in the next video, I'll show you there's some toweling, some scratches, some just love marks on the surface. So I could probably skip the decontamination step with clay bar and all that. But just to be certain, I mean, I think I'm gonna still go through it. So let's be certain, let's remove iron. So let's use a chemical from Built Hammer called Corosol, which is a sodium thioglycolate based iron remover. I believe it is anyway. I might be making up the sodium thioglycolate part. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Solo sprayer, which is battery powered. I've got my Corosol product in here, and I'm going to cover the whole surface with this. You could use a pump sprayer, you could use the regular press-all sprayer. I'm gonna hit the wheels while I'm at it too. And I'll use probably most of this 1,000 liters on the surface. And this will ensure that if there's any embedded iron, which there likely isn't, but if there was, from, you know, this car's been to the track a few times, just driving around on the road, hanging out in the garage. If there's brake dust or rail dust, you can, you know, end up getting iron embedded in the surface, and we want to break that down chemically. We don't want to be dislodging that iron. We don't want that iron sort of eating through the paint surface over time or breaking down. You're swelling your clear coat. So we want to make sure we get that off. This is kind of a a step that matters to me more on a brand new, like a brand new car that came over, you know, on a boat or rail car. Most of the time, I don't end up with iron. Although, the last wash of the Sequoia had a bunch of iron on the back. See anything on the wheels? I don't. See any purple there? No purple. We wouldn't be able to see it on this blue anyway. Maybe there's some on the back, but again, probably not. So all this is a spray it on, let it sit for 5 minutes. Rinse it off. No agitation necessary. If you're new here, yes, I like to clean cars. I like to perfect clean cars. This is really, really clean, really nice. My goal is to make it better. Yeah, look at that. I used the whole liter. So you can see it all over the surface. I don't see any iron anywhere, so my suspicions were correct. No iron. Okay, that's been sitting for 5 minutes or so. Usually what happens is once I start on one side, by the time I get around the car, it takes me 3, 4, 5 minutes, wait another 30 seconds or so, and then start spraying it off in the same fashion that I put it on. Nothing special about this, just get it off. All right, the final step in this process is to either use some sort of synthetic clay. In this case, this doesn't need any of it, so I'm not gonna do the whole thing, but I'm gonna show you what you would do. And I'm gonna show you the new to us here in the US, Built Hammers clay. So they have a soft, medium, and regular. And the amount of clay he gives you is pretty insane. Like, look how big this piece of, this chunk of clay is here. It's a big old chunk. It always comes with like a, I don't know if it's flour or talc powder or something like that, but you got a big old chunk, and you don't want to use that whole chunk, right? We want to take a section out of this. But let's just show you how you would do this. So let me get a chunk of each type. It's probably, what would you say? It's about 50 to 55 degrees out, something like that.
Yeah, like 55.
Maybe 60. So it's not cold, but it's not super warm out here. And so I want to give you my assessment because it's been a while since I've used all three back to back. So I'm going to take off a decent sized little chunk here. This makes me want to take a bite out of this. It looks really good. I'm going to spray some product on here and lubricate it. So this is first one, which is regular. So if I were you, I'd just get all three. That's like a good thing to have in your cabinet. So the difference between clay and, again, I need to heat this up a little bit. It's a little chilly. The difference between claying and synthetic scrubbing is clay is always going to do a better job. It's going to do a better job of removing surface contaminants. Ryan at Fine Detailing has a good video he just put up where he showed using an auto, clay scrubber on a pretty beat up car, a clay scrubber, and then he followed with regular clay, and there was still more dirt that showed up in the clay. So, you're generally going to be better served doing this. Now, I would argue that this clay, and I haven't checked this under a microscope, but clay is more abrasive. It's going to do more marring to the surface. And I never want to use a clay bar unless I'm going to polish afterwards. So the way you would use a clay bar is like so. No pressure. Just let it do its thing. Whenever you have a new piece of clay, you kind of have to break it in a little bit here, like this one. Let's see, now that's dirt from this here, yep. But I can't use too much lubrication. And what this will do is leave the surface nice and clean behind. Again, unnecessary for this particular application, but let me just assess the three different clays here. So that was regular. Got the powder all over the place. This is medium. So I'm not sure medium versus regular. I would assume that regular is stiffer. Yeah, medium feels more pliable than regular. So I think regular would be they probably just didn't want to call it harsh because it's not harsh. I can already tell I like this better. I like how this is acting better in this temperature anyway. So again, I'm using relatively fast motion. If you had real crunchy surface, you could do the old Mike Phillips trick where you take and put a baggie on your hand, like a sandwich bag, and then do a before and after. It's still kind of crumpling up a little bit, but you kind of have to break it in, and do the whole, just move it around a little bit, get it loaded up with product. But I do like medium better than regular, I can already tell. Okay, let's try soft. Here's the medium, I'll clean this mess up later. I think this chunk of clay would last a really long time. And I would probably heat it up a little bit, you know, this time of year. I'd heat it up a little bit before I worked with it. Oh yeah, I like the soft. Soft is my favorite, I can already tell. This is McKee's N914 diluted 128:1. Nice. Yep. I like soft. They're all pretty soft. This is my favorite. Okay. So if the car needed this, I would go through the whole thing. Clearly, doing it with this is quite a bit more work than doing it with a scrubber, clay scrubber, bigger scrubber pad or a clay towel or something like that. But I'm telling you, this is going to work much better. And what you'll do is you'll kind of fold it, knead it, you know, spray product on it, just keep working it in as you kind of go around the surface. You're going to, you know, it's going to change and form and conform to the area, but you're going to need to kind of work with it and make it, yeah, especially in this temperature, the soft is the best. But you're going to conform it to the size that you need. You can use a big piece, small piece. The problem is if you drop this on the ground, you got to throw it away. If you drop a clay scrubber on the ground, you could just, you know, wash it off, dunk it in your bucket. All right, let me rinse that spot off, and we're gonna blow this puppy off and get it inside. Look at what the clay did there. See how the water is not beading up as much? So it did put a little bit of a dent in the coating's hydrophobics there. You don't want a clay if you don't have to. And I'm telling you, on this car, I don't have to. So I want a clay, I want to iron remove if necessary, but if not, I mean, the iron removal is so easy that there's no abrasion or anything that's going to happen. It's not going to affect anything other than stink up your driveway a little bit. And so I don't want to abrade the surface, or I don't want to mess with it or mar it if I don't have to. So we're not going to. So it's good to go. I'm going to now blow it off with my Ego 880 leaf blower. Let me get this cleaned up. See how cool my little setup is over here? I got all my car washing stuff in my lev rack. Testing out some new soaps, a new decon soap coming soon. And these are Howard lights, you know, just to protect my ears. Ego 880 with a stubby. And then I'm gonna get a battery. Okay, so there's still, this was a coated car, so there's still quite a bit of coating left on this. Now, what I don't want to do is use my traditional method, which would be to use drying aid. What I'm going to use surface prep that we talked about earlier. I'm going to use Carpo Eraser as my drying aid, thanks to the OG follower who gave me that suggestion a couple of years ago. But I don't want to add any protection because I'm going to try to remove all the protection in the polishing step. But I do want to wipe it down here and get it inside and then get it on the lift and prepared for the next step. So let me show you what that looks like. So coming soon, maybe right after close to the time you're watching this video, is going to be my OG rag company microfiber 4.0. And microfiber 4.0 will be a drying, we call this a small drying towel, and then low power drying towel, so we're transitioning from orange to silver. And then I'm also going to have, I think what they call the liquidator, which would be what I would use in a car. This one is already coated, but if it wasn't coated, like it was a new car, or like my GT3, my old GT3, when I get all the PPF off and I go to wash it, it won't have anything, it won't have any protection on the surface, so I would need a larger drying towel. But stay tuned, microfiber 4.0 coming. These are two towels that'll be part of it. And so what I'll do is I'll go around and dry the darn car. But I'm using this as a pre-cleaner. This is an alcohol, isopropyl alcohol-based product with probably a surfactant in there. And I'm gonna use this to help dry the surface and get us prepped and ready for polishing. Adds a little bit of lubrication, which is nice while I'm drying. No need to add scratches and swirls if I can help it. So bear with us as we attempt to shoot these, couple of videos at the same time. So we're attempting to shoot a more poignant, specific video for the Obsessed Garage channel, and then doing the long form so that way we get you everything you need. Just a reminder, if you're here on the OG channel, make sure to go to the Matt Mormon channel if you want to watch the whole longer form version with all the in-between steps that we may have omitted here on this decon process. Also, make sure to go to obsessedgarage.com and you can get all this decon stuff that I'm talking about. If you need some help, you can always shoot me an email, matt@obsessedgarage.com, and I'll make sure you get what you need. This part of the drying phase is not super critical because I'm not doing anything else here today. I like to wash the night before I do any polishing. And so I'm washing, that way it can dry overnight, sometimes over multiple nights. And then before I tape it and get it prepared for polishing. But this first wipe down with eraser is sort of the last step in the decontamination process that I generally go through to get the car prepared for its next phase of polished, dialed in life. Man, this car is a nice size, nice and small. You can get this done quickly. I don't know why we were dreading this for so long. This is easy. especially since I didn't have to clay the thing. Oh, this feels so much better, this silver towel. I think it works better too because it's silver over the orange. I probably said the same thing when I got the orange towel. I'm like, oh, this orange towel is awesome. Gosh, these Press All Pros are so good. So awesome. If you had a first or second or third generation Press All, the Pro Series, I think we finally got it right. All right, do the doors. Yeah, I can tell when the wipe off that it's ready. It's ready for a fresh coating. I haven't decided what I'm going to use yet. CSL XO or Armor Pro? Let me know in the comments, which one should I use? What do you think? I'll put those in. Okay, so here's how I get this on the lift. I use these little guys here. So these are a little Delrin puck that go up into the jack point here. One. There's two. Pretty good. We'll pull like another inch. Let's see. That should be good. So then check this out. My lift controller's right here. I'll bring it up. Perfect. Pretty good. I might be able to bring it back. Scooch. Perfect. All right, everybody, so that's a wrap on this video. Next up, taping, polishing, perfecting. See you on the next one.